Welcome. Hello there. This will be my last video. For the weekend, that is. Had you go in there, I bet a lot of people were cheering, but no, it's just my last video for the weekend. And I was reading something on the news, as I do, that kinda made me think. When I lived in Canada, I used to really look forward to hunting season for duck hunting, deer hunting, because it was very male sort of camaraderie. It was always enjoyable, and we always had stories to tell afterwards. And I guess there was no females involved either to screw things up. But it seems to be hunting season for straight white males mostly. Well, white males, but straight white males mostly. You guys kind of notice that too? All these charges of inappropriate behavior, I don't know what that is, sexual harassment, always seems to be against white males, and usually straight white males. And hunting seasons usually has a season, from this date to that date, but it seems to be open season on white males in today's world, doesn't it? And it's not a very fair world, because these men may say something and it gets all twisted around and they make it into some big thing. And yet I've heard females say worse and more disgusting things, but nothing is done about that. It's like we're going back in the times of segregation many, many years ago, where a certain class of people had more rights than others. Surely that's going back in time, not forward. But in the climate of the world nowadays, we're not allowed to say anything against a female or point out their faults because they don't have any. And we will be reprimanded if we do. So I'm going to put a link to a sort of a news item I read about a guy who's on the media and in the morning TV usually in the UK and has been for many, many years. I mean, I never rated him much because he was always on programs with a woman and they was always talking about female things, the female daytime TV programs. But I back him on this one. He's obviously made a faux pas, I guess. But he called Meghan Markle, and those who don't know who she is, she married Harry from the royal family. And I actually made a video myself and said that she was a princess before she became a princess, if you know what I mean. Anyway, this guy said that she was uppity. And he's been reprimanded by the ITV programming because that has racial connotations, apparently. I know what uppity means, and I think everybody else does. That means somebody's acting a lot better than they actually are. Somebody who thinks their beep doesn't stink. We've all come across those type of people in our lives, and that word describes them perfectly. And it describes Markle perfectly, too. In my mind, anyway. But you're not allowed to criticize any female openly about anything, even if it's true. And you will be reprimanded or maybe lose time at work or pay if you don't follow the narrative or our laws, even though they're ridiculous. Freedom of speech has no place in today's world. Now, saying something just to be nasty and to get at somebody, I don't agree with. But I believe he was just saying what he thought. And about what probably 75% of the English people thought too. So I guess I'm just trying to give you the heads up out there, guys, and give you a sort of a warning that you gotta watch your mouth nowadays, because if you're male, and especially a straight white male, in hunting season, you are in the crosshairs. And they're just all hanging around waiting to pounce. Once they control people's speech, the next thing I guess would be the body language. They haven't said anything, but your body language is saying the wrong thing. You'll have to change that too. This is how ridiculous it's getting, isn't it? So if anybody out there knows why uppity has racial connotations to it, please let me know. Because if that word has got racial connotations to it, then every word could have, couldn't they? Take it easy, people. Watch your mouth. God, that female's such a